All right, good morning. So lots of times we hear the phrase media bias. Came across something that I just felt like I had to share. The media bias doesn't just occur in the mainstream media, as we know. It also occurs a lot on platforms like social media, like Twitter, etc., and even things like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is actually pretty bad as far as having a political alignment. They're pretty left leaning. I have seen many Wikipedia articles edited and modified in the last few months as they're trying to help quietly behind the scenes shape the narrative. It's unfortunate that such a large database, for what it's worth, as well done as it is, has to have such a bias. Here's what I saw in Wikipedia today that I wanted to share. Gerald Ford's an interesting president. Did you know that he is the only president that was not elected to the vice presidency or to the presidency? You know, originally Nixon's running mate was Spiro Agnew. You know, when a president dies or leaves office for some reason unexpectedly, the vice president gets promoted. But when a vice president has to leave office for something like that, all the president does is pick whoever they want. Pick Gerald Ford, and then he resigned because of Watergate, or got impeached, and then Ford became president. And then he did not win re-election when he went up against Jimmy Carter. In any event, I'm looking at this, what Wikipedia calls schools of conservatism in the United States. And we have compassionate fiscal fusion, libertarian, neo-paleo, progressive socialist, traditional, and the newest entry, Trumpist. So I understand what a compassionate and fiscal conservative is. We've heard those terms a lot. The progressive conservative. These are all like basically Democrats, or what they call rhinos, Republican in name only. A lot of this, right? Social, traditional, right? But Trumpist, right? So I read the definitions of some of these. Libertarian conservatism. Libertarian conservatism, also referred to as conservative libertarianism, etc., is a political philosophy that combines conservatism and libertarianism. Libertarian conservatism advocates the greatest possible economic liberty, least possible government regulation on social life, mirroring laissez-faire classical liberalism, but harnessing this to a belief in a more socially conservative philosophy emphasizing authority and duty. Libertarian conservatism prioritizes liberty, promoting free expression, freedom of choice, free market capitalism to achieve conservative ends, and rejects liberal social engineering. You can see this because I want you to be able to see some of the blue links here, because that's all right. Trumpism is a term for political ideology, style of governance, political movement, and set of mechanisms for acquiring and keeping power that are associated with Donald Trump. It's an American politics version of the right-wing to far-right national populist sentiment in multiple nations worldwide, and holds some aspects of illiberal democracy. Right-wing and far-right, according to their definitions, are not quite as bad as they could have made them. I've heard them used in far more spurless, slanderous type ways. I guess the same thing with national populist. It's relatively accurate, not as jaded as I thought it would be, but then they finish off with hold some aspects of illiberal democracy. Well, what is illiberal democracy? Illiberal democracy is a governing system in which, although elections take place, citizens are cut off from the knowledge about the activities of those who exercise real power because of the lack of civil liberties. Thus, it's not an open society. There are many countries, quote, that are categorized as neither free nor not free, but as probably free, falling somewhere between democratic and non-democratic regimes. Some theorists argue that illiberal democracy is fundamentally undemocratic and therefore prefers terms such as electoral authoritarianism, competitive authoritarianism, or soft authoritarianism. Wow, what a bunch of dicks. So basically what they're doing is, I mean, is this projecting or gaslighting? I'm not sure. When they have a illegitimate election rife with the F word, that on top of it being present, they won't examine and further chastise anyone who even suggests the concept of examining it closely, because for some reason to examine potential F word is unpatriotic. Yet they call Trumpists illiberal, meaning Meaning, although elections take place, citizens are cut off from knowledge about the activities of those who exercise real power. Stop right there. That sounds a lot more like the Democrats and the far left. Because of a lack of civil liberties, what civil liberties do Trumpists cut off from people? I don't even understand what the fuck they mean by that. Thus, it is not an open society. According to this French philosopher in the 1930s, coined the phrase, and their definition is just to use the opposite. So a closed society is a closed system of law, morality, or religion. It's static like a closed mind. So basically what they're saying is that Trumpists are part of a closed society. They don't let anybody else in. They do not accept any input from other people, other parties, or any other ideas that they don't already hold. Essentially countries that fall under the rule of illiberal democracy party candidates are neither free or not free, at least theoretically, but in truth they're not free, and they're actually just authoritarianism, totalitarian dictatorships. That's what they've slammed people who support Trump with. That's what apparently it means to be a Trumpist, according to left-leaning, media-biased Wikipedia. Holy shit. It's going to be a long day. That's it.